Hi everyone, it's Uvio back with another devlog episode about Go See A Knight's Tale, a 2.5D story-driven puzzle platformer built inside Unreal Engine. So, as some of you who've been following my journey already know, I have a full-time job, which doesn't leave a lot of time for me to put out these videos, which, as I've said in the past, I've been trying to be more frequent with. However, because this is not my full-time job and I have a life and I'm trying to build my own company and I'm trying to spend as much of my free time on game development as I possibly can, there isn't a whole lot of time left to then edit videos. I've tried to enlist somebody on Fiverr, however, looking at the footage that I have, it is a mess, and I'd rather deal with that myself than subject somebody else to that. I humbly ask of you for patience, and I've rambled on enough. Let's get into the meat of the episode.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys!
Prior to May, I decided it was time to redesign the main character. I felt that the old design was lacking some life. Something that would make you fall in love with the character. The character's eyes were quite dead, and he was simply just not resembling my fiance's dog as closely as I was wanting him to be. And so I went back, I redesigned the character, and tossed out the full turnaround that I had completed back in January, and decided to do it all over again and build him this time in Adobe Animate. Why Animate instead of Harmony? Well, Animate is just simply more cost efficient. However, I can't use anything older than Animate 2020. I don't know why, and I've tried, installing 2017, 2018, and it loads the splash screen and then nothing. If you know why that might be and how I could get those versions to work on my computer, please let me know in the comments below or in the Discord. I would really appreciate it. One, if not the most important update that has been a long time coming. I didn't know what version control was, and randomly one day I saw a Cobra Code video about it. He can definitely explain it far better than I can, so click that link up there or in the description down below. From how I understand, you have a website like Git where you can create a repository, and then you use like an intermediary software. In my case, I'm using Anchor Point to upload literally every change that I make at the end of every single game development session to that repository. If something breaks, I can just revert the changes for that file. Before I found out about version control, I was duplicating the project folder every single time I had a new version of the game. But if anything broke, I would lose everything. The release window of Unreal 5.4 lined up perfectly with my return to the game. While I could have migrated the project from a previous version to 5.4, I decided it was time for a new project folder with a more consistent file structure and version control. While the new version of Unreal comes with some performance boosts, it also adds a feature that I was excited to try, which is the has pixel animation. I was hoping that this would allow me to use something like TSAA as an anti-aliasing method, get rid of ghosting while also allowing me to have nicer and more sharp looking 3D objects. However, that doesn't really seem to do anything, so I was looking for an alternative, and I landed on TAA by reducing the frame weight slightly and setting the texture of sprite materials to trilinear. In the time since the last video, I've also upgraded my workstation. In an effort to become more flexible and to get a boost in hardware performance, this meant out with the old 2020 desktop and in with an MSI Titan 18HX. And what a beast of a laptop that is. Holy cow. It's a big investment, and while a laptop will never be as powerful as a desktop counterpart, the mobility and huge performance boost over my old machine were ultimately the deciding factors. Definitely makes it way easier for me to edit videos, do game development, and animate characters regardless of where I am. Let's go back to the character build and character design. Obviously, with the new build in a different animation software, I have to do animations all over again. My current focus is mostly on basic ground movement, then jumping, and then some other features. And basic ground movement is done, at least for now. One thing that I've decided to do is to focus on one movement aspect at a time. I made a test build that you can download and try out and hopefully give me feedback on. I want to make sure that the core of a platformer feels great. I could get carried away with all the little gameplay features that you can make, but if the running and jumping feels shit, well, the entire game kind of crumbles in on itself. While there isn't a whole lot for me to talk about with the code, I did try out one thing, which is joystick control. I'm a huge fan of Super Mario 64, and I loved the way that you could go from walking really slowly to running really fast by moving the joystick. And I wanted to see how I could do that with a 2D character. Now I know that there aren't really blend spaces for rasterized art, so I created a transitional animation, and I will continue to tweak that until that transition feels okay. But for now, I'm really happy with what I got. So if you have the time, I would really appreciate if you could check out the game, download it in the description below, give some feedback if you can, and don't expect too much because, again, I'm just testing a small feature at the moment. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. That's it for today's episode. I want to give a quick shout out and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, Whimsical Wisp, Captain Poopy Bum, Tristan Age, Fizz exclamation point, and Colin Dick. Thank you so much for your support. It goes a long way. It really does. And to all of you, I will see you all in the next one.